This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a full lobby. Everybody's gonna be doing stuff. Hopefully, no one will die to all the pals.
You
Or
never know.
maybe they will. Hopefully on screen. You know, that's all you can ask.
You just see the background of Sid's like just hacking away at something, and we see us both getting chased by pals in the
Oh my
background.
god, like that time in Sea of Thieves where I got shot out of a cannon while you were at the market, and all you see is me in the background, like, sorry.
Welcome everybody to the newest episode of the Party Invite Show. My name is Tegan, your host. I'm joined by Vilos and Obsidianite,
Oh
Hello.
hey,
and we're here to talk about music, y'all. We talked about rhythm games a while back on our 98th episode. I went back and refreshed ourselves a little bit on that. We talked about a handful of games and lots of good stuff. But today, our party topic is about how video game music has grown beyond games. Now you see games music proliferating, not just places like Spotify, but uh, you know TV and movies and award shows and crossovers and lots of stuff. So we really want to dive into that because we love video game music and we know that you do too. But before we get to that, let's start with our Blissin' Up segment. Let's start with the things that made us smile this week.
my blissing up is the usual retail therapy. I got a few things, and unfortunately, I've got my sad webcam this time. But uh, obviously, I share this stuff on Twitter all the time. But I got Vernal Edge, which is
Ooh.
one of the really beautiful Metroidvanias that I'm going to play this year.
I like that
Uh,
font.
it's really legit. Yeah, if you can see, it's neat. And the big one, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Hell yeah.
I've been waiting to grab this because I think the Switch physical came out like late September, maybe even late October. Um, but it suddenly dropped down in price to be cheaper than the digital on the eShop because that
Gotta
game
love it.
has not the game has not gone down. It's $40 all the time. It went down to 32 on the eShop for like less than a week. Ever since then, it's been $40, and the physical was somehow 32 the other day. I was like, yes, I have to have it.
Wow.
But then the big one, been waiting for this for months.
I saw your
Hey.
tweet about this.
But the Xenoblade 3 Nia, not Nia, Noah and Mio
Ooh, I'm
amiibos.
telling.
And listen, if there's a Nia amiibo, though, I mean,
Is there not?
no, there's not. But these are the main characters from Xenoblade 3, and some of my favorite characters of all time. I'm very happy to have that. 40 freaking dollars for amiibos, but that's better than the secondhand price is going to be. They're already, $60+ because everybody's trying to scalp them, just like they did the Pyra and Mithra amiibos, which you cannot get for less than pretty much $60.
I just want to interject here and say,
Oh.
with my official Nintendo training, that the plural form of amiibo is amiibo. So
Listen, I hate it.
it's like Pokemon, you got a bunch of Pikachu over there.
Yeah,
Choose. Like,
and I mean, I've got the only other amiibo I've had is the Metroid Dread double pack of Samus and the what's it called,
it's
the
such a good
Emmy.
pair too, and the Metroid is so squishy.
Yeah, but I'm debating on if I'm actually going to open this one up. I'm really debating because I don't really have a good display place like in this apartment
All
yet,
right, then hold
and
on to it. Then your answer's right there. Hold on to it.
yeah.
You know, uh, yeah. Yeah, I would.
I
You
would
know,
say
I
don't open them because, like, out of all the amiibo I collect, which is like 90% of the Smash ones, and then like all of the Splatoon ones and some of the Kirby ones and stuff, I don't have any of them open. And if I need to use them, I do like a special surgery to like make them usable in
Oh
box.
yeah, I've seen your surgery on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you need to use them for any reason, I got you. I could do my surgery for a price.
Wow.
but if you say
There's
anything,
some of that peach mead though.
you don't
To
say
follow
anything bad though,
it.
because they'll take your tongue. Watch out.
True. True.
Sid, how about you?
Oh, was that it?
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, speaking of cats and music, I don't have this actually written down, but speaking of cats and music, I found the funniest tweet. I can't remember if it was this morning or yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning, and it is of cats playing instruments. It is the cutest thing, and I
That
have
was pretty
watched it
funny.
so many times. Oh, did you watch the retweet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
on Twitter?
They're like eagerly playing. Like I don't know what the owner did for them to play. It's just
Yeah.
really funny.
I posted the link in the chat, but these things are trained. Like they play on cue. They don't like play it unless they're on the camera. And they're like looking at the camera, they're like playing it up and everything. It's so good. Like, how are they that good?
Wow.
Asterisk.
Yeah, the one that's on the drum like just keeps like going back and forth on those sticks, just like I don't know what this is, but I'm trying.
Keyboard cat who? We don't know her.
Wow.
They're out. But my main thing is, and this actually kind of alludes to the topic we'll be talking about today, is that the Sonic concert is happening this weekend. And
Woo,
guess who is in
woohoo.
attendance?
Is
Could
it
could it be you?
is it you?
Oh my God, how did you know? It was me. Yeah, I'll be going. This is so exciting because I haven't been to like an orchestra, like symphony thing since the last one I went to, which is the Legend of Zelda Symphony in like 2017.
Yep,
Something.
17. I was there
Oh,
too.
wow. You were? I just kind of pulled that number out of my butt,
What
but okay, cool.
at the Legend of Zelda one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Symphony of the
Well, I think
Goddesses.
I was there too. Wow.
Motherfuckers.
Wow.
Like
What a
what?
reunion. Gosh.
That's
I
actually
literally
really
had to look it
cool.
up
Are we
just because of the research tonight. I had to look it up when the
We
date
were
was.
in
I
the
was like,
same audience. I was like in the front and center row though. Where were y'all?
Oh, back middle left.
I was in, like right middle balcony, something like that.
Balconies
Yeah.
is actually would be pretty good because then you could see the big screen like really,
Yeah.
really well. Because I
Wait,
tell
was
you
there a
what,
big
It
screen?
was a good it
Oh,
was a
I
good
wasn't
spot.
looking. Was there a I was just oh, this is embarrassing. I think I have to go back.
like where I was sitting, it's a nice view of the orchestra. But gosh, if I wanted to look up at the screen, I just had to be like freaking like paying
Yeah,
so
that's
much
a
like
little
I'm playing
much.
a video game at Walmart or something, you know?
Right.
But I'm really excited about the seats that I have for this Sonic Symphony. I'm actually wearing my Zelda Symphony shirt right now that I got there.
Nice.
I also have the physical CD, but that's in my car, and I'm not about to go outside in the weather to fetch it to show on camera. But pretend I am. Ta-da! There it is.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's all nice and gold and shiny.
Well,
That's yeah.
that's exciting. So our topic today, I'll just switch this over here, is the growing or how video game music has grown past just games, right? So it's the Legend of Zelda Symphony where we got to hear the orchestra play while you saw all of these scenes from a bunch of different Zelda games on screen. It was really great because besides being good music and being cool visuals, it's a new way that you can share this thing you love in a way that it's never been shared before. You know, all three of us may love game music, but if it wasn't for an event like that, when would we be out in public sharing that explicitly? We might chat about it. We could have beers somewhere and chat about our favorite music, but to go and actually be able to experience it with other people is really something special. So first, we really wanted to stick with these live performances. So I love that we just now discovered that all three of us were in the same room at Symphony of the Goddesses in Kansas City.
That's ridiculous.
It gives you a reason to dress up and go out. It's almost like a convention where you can know that you're going to be in a space with a bunch of nerds. So, like, if you've got that cool outfit you want to show off, like, this is the place. But you've got all these really talented musicians that are out there. They go on tour all over the country. And I personally think that the Symphony of the Goddesses was one of the first ones that got people to recognize this as something that could exist in other games. We have Sonic that you're going to see here soon, Sid. There's a Final Fantasy one. There's a Stardew one that's starting up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which the Stardew one is a little different for me because I'm like, those are all played on like a MIDI keyboard, I think.
Yeah.
You
But then
know,
you have like concerts for people like Anamanaguchi, right?
Yeah.
So
are there any other symphonies that you guys know of, just off the top of your heads, that that either
I
have
mean,
happened?
Video Games Live was the big one
That's true.
that toured, but that was Tommy Tallarico. It was a really great product, but Tommy Tallarico fell out of favor for a lot of reasons.
Oh, rip.
But the Video Games Live produced, I think it was like 7 or 8 straight years of shows, toured across the world, as well as album versions of most, if not every one of those shows. So
there's also performances at like conventions, like you said. Like I think MagFest had like a big video game kind of concert
Mhm.
affair, uh, whenever it was this month. A
Well,
lot of people have been posting like pictures and things like that of I know an artist who went there. He plays the saxophone. He's usually like a nerdcore like rapper, but he also plays like the baritone and alto sax. And so he went there to like jazz jam, and they played like a bunch of like video game jazz renditions of stuff. So there's also like small events like that too. It's not.
Mhm.
I like that there's that instead of just like all these big orchestral concert performances. There's also like the grassroots movement like among conventioneers and buskers and things like that too that can introduce people to video game music with like traditional music medium.
Yeah, 100%.
So, besides the symphonies that you were talking about, one of which, of course, is coming up this weekend, being the Sonic one, and then there's another Zelda symphony coming up next month. I believe it's February 9th. And if you're not able to make that one in person, you can watch it on Nintendo's official YouTube. But
What?
another one that is going
You
to
could
be
just
coming up,
you could just watch it?
yeah, on YouTube. They're going to be putting on YouTube
Oh, dip!
on
Watch
the night.
party!
I can't remember what time, but if you look at their Twitter, or any of the socials, there's the announcement about it. But I think it's on the 9th of February. But then the following day, Deep Cut, which is the idol group from Splatoon 3, consisting of Fry and Big Man and Shiver, um, they're going to be having a concert on the 10th. So that's really cool because it'll be the first time that this idol group, I think, has performed in the real world, quote unquote, because the last idol group, which was Off the Hook, their last performance was a
But what were they
collaboration
named?
uh, off the
I saw that and it was off the hook. That's just a normal thing that you say every day. Classic Sid
Man,
phrase. Wow,
that's
this
a
is
deep cut.
off the.
But no, Off the Hook, which consists of Marina and Pearl, they had a collaboration with the Squid Sisters, which is the idol group from the first Splatoon, who are Callie and Marie. That was their last performance. They had a duo concert collaboration, which was really cool. And so I think that this concert with Deep Cut is going to be awesome because they have a collaboration song with the Squid Sisters as well, which is called the Calamari Incantation Three-Peat.
Mhm.
So it's going to be in Tokyo. So, of course, I mean, we're not going to be going to Tokyo anytime soon, right? We can watch it on YouTube. I'm super excited about. Wait, do I? Unless I'm missing something. Are y'all going to Tokyo?
Oh,
No.
no, but
Okay.
we are talking about travel. Backstage here. So, party invite trip to Tokyo 2027. I don't know. What are we?
Listen, if you'd like to support us on, no, I'm just
Yo, I'm about
Oh,
to.
it'll definitely be before 2027.
I hope
You
so.
believe that?
Gosh, because then, I mean, what if the heat death of the universe happens and we never get to go? We gotta go.
That's true. That's a good point. We should. Well, I tell you what, I'm about as soon as this podcast is over, I'm about to make some Discord events to watch party these orchestras because I had no idea that we could just tune into those.
I'm really excited about the Splatoon one because the other ones, they are holographic concerts, right? So, or holograms.
Hologram, yeah.
And so they have the holograms of the artists on stage, but they'll have like a real band performing with them because it's real bands who make the music, right?
Mhm.
There's actual people making the music with traditional instruments that you would see in like a recording studio. And of course, all of the idols have their own voice actors and actresses and stuff. And it's really cool to see them like do their thing live, I guess. You don't see them on the stage, of course, but you can hear them doing their thing live, which is so cool. And I think that this Tokyo performance for Deep Cut is really going to put them, quote unquote, on the map because so far their presence in Splatoon 3 hasn't really been all that impressive. Recently, they've been making more of a wave because of their outfits for the specialty fests that have been going on, but their music has been kind of polarizing, to say the least, out
Yep.
of the idol groups so far, right? I think their biggest hit was Big Betrayal, which recently came out, and that was a song that they wrote when they found out that Big Man used to work with the Squid Sisters, and so they were like, "What? And then they wrote like a diss track kind of sort of together, and it's actually really good. It's a bop, y'all. Please do go listen to that if you can. But Off the Hook had so many, so many, so many good hits, and I'm so glad that people can go experience the music of Splatoon in concerts like this because if you go, you can get like posters, you can get albums, you can get them signed by the idols. I mean, you don't see them being signed by the idols, but
Yeah.
you get the copies and they're already autographed, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And
they
so,
don't have time to, we get it.
right,
We get it.
of course,
They're busy.
we're little people. We're
Yeah.
little people.
Right. They're recording their next
Just
diss track.
just to note, the Zelda performance is not live, but yes, the Splatoon one is. But yeah, anybody that's in Japan, I mean, just what
Yeah, I
else
mean,
you doing that day?
we don't have any car like the Splatoon people come here at all. Like I think the last time we had a Splatoon performance here was like at some gaming convention somewhere. I can't even remember.
I
It was
think
like,
they might have had it in September when the Treehouse Live thing happened up there in Seattle.
was that Off the Hook? It must have been Off the Hook then.
I don't remember if it was Off the Hook, but I think it might have been.
It couldn't have been Deep Cut, so it must have been Off the Hook. Yeah. Well, there was a concert that we had before that. That was at a gaming convention. Um, and it was Off the Hook then as well. But we've seen more Off the Hook stateside than we have any other artist because they're the best one. But I wanted to spread here because I'm tired of Japan getting all the cool stuff. I'd like to go to Japan. Don't get me wrong, I love Japan, but I ain't got that kind of money. So bring Japan here.
So let's see. So there's lots of stuff to see around here, but you can also listen to video game soundtracks in the comfort of your own home.
Wild.
Vilos, you've got all the deets. You read all the data, all of it. There's no data left
Yes,
unread.
every single bit of data. Yes.
About video game music, because with the live stuff, it's awesome that you're able to share everything with other people in person. But the OG of enjoying video games outside of the actual game are these soundtracks that you can enjoy on vinyl, on music platforms, on CD, on whatever you got. So tell us about that, because it's been not quite literally off the charts.
Yeah, I did find a lot of different reports that were starting up towards the end of 2023. But I don't have Statista money. If anybody knows what Statista is out there, that's where you get financial reports. That's where companies pay several hundreds of dollars to get industry information. But I did find a little bit of good stuff, interesting numbers with the whole thing. So the video game market has been apparently skyrocketing for pretty much 2 decades, but especially over the last 3 or 4 years, and it was expected to hit pretty much 1.4 to 1.6 billion dollars in 2023, and there were some early like solid numbers in 2024, but I couldn't find them today when I was trying to find the information. But that 1.56-ish billion dollars is about 10% of the music industry as a whole, which is
Wow,
wild.
that's
uh
that's
yeah,
surprising. That's a much
and
bigger number than I expected.
because it was such a niche for a long time, and now you're like, oh no, that's expected. I'm pretty sure that pop music is still like the number one overall revenue for the industry, but it's not really that far. Um, and so a lot of these reports were also saying that pretty much year over year, it's growing by a solid 15% or so. So the the expectation is by 2030 for video game music specifically to be a $5 billion industry. $5 billion
Oh.
out of the current video game industry revenue is 180 billion. So a tiny blip as far as the gaming industry overall, but that's obviously it's because the sales are a lot different. A lot of physical sales are out there. There's vinyl limited edition stuff out there.
I'm not paying
That is
$60 for a CD.
yeah, which
Don't
is
do
a
it.
flash in
Or
the
an album.
pan, right? It's a flash in the pan, but people still buy them. But the thing is downloads, right? Everybody's going to be streaming it, and obviously people are paying a whole lot less money to stream things instead of actually buying full albums and stuff like that. But there's so much growth in the industry. I decided to look at Spotify if we want to go over a couple of those. I think there's some fun stuff to look at there. Just on the list of video game soundtracks that Spotify gives when you look it up. There's tons of playlists and stuff. Obviously, according to Spotify, over 680,000 songs um, that are just there.
Wow, that's a lot.
The very first thing that I
What do you
looked
think
up
that takes
here,
like 10 hours to listen to?
just a few. One of the first things I saw here was an interesting playlist that Spotify itself made. So the top 10. I'm going to just start with 10 just to see what you think about it. So the 10th most popular here is Elden Ring.
Boo!
Really?
Boo! I didn't care what it was. I was gonna boo it automatically.
The officially the Elden Ring theme by Tsukasa Saito.
Oh my gosh, are people using it for their workouts or what? Like,
I mean, maybe,
because I
probably.
mean, that's if I remember, that's like a pretty intense theme, right? Well, we'll have
I
to
mean,
find out.
Actually,
intense games are pretty good for workouts. Like if you were to put the Tekken soundtrack on while you're working out, you're gonna get some fitness in.
Yep. Yeah, because if you need to focus, I mean, video game music is mostly what I use as the basis of my like focus playlist, or even a
Mhm.
lot of my driving playlists. It's good stuff. But that's funny. I wouldn't have put Elden Ring in the top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, this is actually real hype. This is real hype. I like it. And it goes from Elden Ring at number 10 to number 9, and it really sticks out to me how new these are. Into the Starfield, the main theme from Starfield, which is obviously fantastic.
It is
Is
really good.
it?
Yeah, it is. It is good.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't heard it, so
I mean, it's still very Hans Zimmer like sounding.
okay.
Just
Well,
a
that
It's
makes
a
mix.
sense
sound
because
alike
Hans
for
Zimmer,
sure.
he's a really good composer. So
He is really
okay,
good
I can
composer.
see.
It's good quality space stuff. I remember I heard an ad
Yeah.
for Starfield during a gaming podcast, like when it first came out. And when it first came on, I didn't realize I was hearing an ad, and the music just started playing, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what am I hearing right now?" And then like Starfield, blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Okay, okay, I would play
Watch
this
the
just for
Space Force's
this.
rotated space. Yeah.
I play just for the music."
And the composer of Into the Starfield is Inon Zur.
Oh,
Just
I
FYI
didn't
for
know that.
anybody that
He's
doesn't
done
know.
Dragon Age and Fallout.
hmm And there's obvious reason as to why he was hired for that. So it goes from Into the Starfield at 9 to uh, this one's the surprise, the Mirage theme from Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is brand spanking new. I haven't
So
actually
wait, is
listened to
this the
that one
top
yet.
10 of like all year last year?
I'm not sure if it's
Or
by
like all
plays.
time?
I don't. It's a top 10. It's a playlist by Spotify with a shit ton of tracks on it. I'm scrolling through here and I can see at least 126 like songs just right off the bat.
Ah,
Well, that might be the
It's a ton of
algorithm.
good stuff.
There's a lot to unpack here, but
Yeah,
with
yeah.
with a lot of Spotify playlists, they actually will cycle. They have if you follow the same generated playlist for a few weeks, you'll actually notice that the track order and some of the tracks change. So that might not necessarily be the stuff with the most listens. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I would say without a doubt those are very popular if they're at the
Yeah,
top
it's
of that
very
list.
curated
yeah.
at the very least.
Yeah.
It's curated because it's specifically a Spotify
I mean,
playlist
I can't
made
talk
by
about
Spotify.
Spotify's playlist because like the last year, my Spotify Wrapped consisted of Sega being my number one artist, with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle being like the most listened to, and then it was like Streets of Rage, and then KDA, which I will talk about later, and some other video game thing. I can't remember. It was all video games, and then Beat Saber, and then it was gosh, a real life artist who I can't even remember. Like at number 5.
Who can remember? Well, the Fez soundtrack and the Skyrim soundtrack have been and Halo have at least one of those have been in my top 5, like either 5 songs or 5 albums or 5 artists every year for like the past 7 years. And it always surprises me because yeah, I listen to them a lot, but I don't always, when you're listening to the Skyrim soundtrack, that thing has like 30 songs on it. So I don't, I listen to it all day, but I don't realize that the platform is like, oh, you've listened to 30 songs by this dude. For other artists, I'd have to listen to their album 10 or 3 times to hear 30 songs. And the Fez soundtrack, tons of tracks. Same thing with these other ones, but they're so good, and I just keep going back to them because I enjoy them so much.
Yeah,
Can't get
and
enough.
so I'm gonna finish
Yeah.
going up the list because we got some good ones. So by the way, the Mirage theme is by Brendan Angelides. Okay,
It's a
yeah.
pretty name.
It's knowing what Mirage is about. It definitely rings to the Dune criticism of sand, but it is pretty. Okay, it's definitely lots of Middle Eastern vibes for sure, but it's gorgeous. So that was number 8. Number 7, The Rebel Path from Cyberpunk 2077, by PT Adamczyk.
Gosh,
Uh,
this is
Oh, yeah.
reminding me that I should play some AAA games every once in a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
that that, and when I share this playlist, you're gonna have all the jams in the world. But this is the Rebel Path is pretty much the definitive track. It's like, okay, if you haven't played Cyberpunk, then this is like Nine Inch Nails.
Okay.
That's
okay.
that's all the sound is. That's
And
Hell
you
yeah.
haven't
exactly what the
listened to
sound is.
Nine Inch Nails.
I don't
Wait.
know what to tell you if you haven't.
That's just hypothetical. I've heard them before.
Hey, you know what?
Uh-huh.
Who was I
Mhm.
in voice chat? Oh, I was in voice chat with a friend of mine last night, and I was actually reading about Atticus Ross, who has done a bunch of work with Trent Reznor. He's actually Atticus Ross is
Multiple Oscars.
actually an official member of Nine Inch Nails, which I hadn't realized. I knew they collaborated
Yeah.
all the time. I didn't realize he was that guy. But man, if you want to see a resume, that guy has just done so much stuff. He did the Book of Eli, which they're doing a prequel show to soon with John Boyega. Is that am
Oh,
I saying
really?
his name right? Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I mean, I hope it's scored by Atticus Ross again. But yeah, those two guys make lots of great music. They won awards for The Social Network, which sounds like video game music, kind of, you know. I mean, shoot, if we're talking about Nine Inch Nails, actually, I'll bring it back when we segue. I'll bring it back when we segue.
Yes.
But the Game Awards had Nine Inch Nails playing when Kojima walked out on stage. They were playing "Come Back Haunted" by Nine Inch Nails, and at first, when
Exactly.
the smoke was up there, I thought they were gonna bring, like, my brain went to, they're about to bring out Trent Reznor. I can't believe this. And then Kojima walked out, and I was like, oh, that's cool too. He's a cool guy.
And so the next one up, number 6, is Ezio's Family, obviously from Assassin's Creed 2. The composer is Jesper Kyd. And then the next one people are going to know. Number 5 is Dragonborn from...
Is that from Dragon Quest?
Yeah.
Stop it. I hope you're not serious.
No. It's obviously from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. You know.
Wow, are we gonna get a third try? What's the third guess?
Baldur's
as to what
Gate, the when you play as a dragonkin.
No, Dragon's Dogma,
Wow.
obviously, the Dark Arisen.
Wow. Wow, chat needs to tell us what this game is. But
Oh, you know what?
Dragonborn
It's
is...
Dragon Age 2.
Oh, it is by Unknown
Nope.
Sir. Yeah.
Nope. Wow. So Dragonborn by Jeremy Sewell. That's obviously from Skyrim. Number 4 actually made me laugh out loud, but hey, I haven't listened to it yet. Maybe I'll listen to it. The composer is listed as C418.
Yeah, the Minecraft guy. Yeah.
The track is Sweden and it's Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
C418 is great.
Yeah.
He does a lot of music besides Minecraft that's also great. So recommend checking that out. I listen to his stuff a lot. Like if you're looking for something to decompress to, look no further. There's a song by him called Intro that is like, if you wanted the sound of I wish I could stay in bed for 5 more minutes, that's the song.
I really like Aria Math by him. Aria Math is one of my favorite tracks, I think.
Oh, Benson says former Minecraft guy. I actually didn't know that. So thanks for telling me, though, because I would call him the Minecraft guy for another decade until somebody corrected me. So what'd you say, Sid, though? What's your favorite track?
Oh, Aria Math. That's my favorite track by him.
That's just a
is that
classic.
related to
Aria as
Grande?
in song.
Ariana Grande? Oh, I messed it up. Damn it.
Aria as in, like, Aria as a song, and then math, like, the science of numbers.
For those plebes out there.
Yeah, I'm glad on today's show we got to define what math was for the scientists out there.
And then we get to
actually
number 3.
Excluded from all these lists is math rock. We're not here to talk about math rock. That's a real genre.
Especially not math metal. Yeah.
No,
we're not going anywhere near it.
Yeah.
But the number 3 track is extremely well known lately. Bear McCreary, God of War Ragnarok.
There it is.
So yeah, that one's a big one. Everybody knows, and honestly, the number 2 surprised me that it's number 2. the number one, completely, I didn't think it would have gone over all these other tracks. But number two, Marty O'Donnell, Halo. I don't like that specific track is the one that's up here, but
which one? What
I
track was
digress
it?
on that.
Just the main Halo track?
Just Halo. It's not even the main theme. It's
It's
just
not even
the track labeled Halo.
Yeah, it's from the second level of the first game. Oh, I'm bumping that all the
yeah.
time, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I got that
Yeah.
soundtrack on lock.
Did you make this playlist?
Maybe.
Right. Like I still prefer the Mjolnir mix to be my number one on the Halo side of things, but yeah, I can still respect it. But yeah, Marty O'Donnell, one of the greatest soundtracks ever. Everybody can fight me if it's not in their top 3. All right. But the number one track,
Crush 40, Live and Learn. Yep.
Hey,
Sonic of
actually,
Battle.
before we move on real quick, because I want to make sure we never get to the end of this podcast.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm looking up Bear McCreary because I know he does a bunch of stuff that's not just God of War. I'm not sure if I found the thing I was looking for because I had a friend of mine recommending me a song and I was like, wow, he did that. But I'm scrolling through his discography, which is huge. He did The Witcher. He did a season of the show Outlander. Obviously God of War. He did the Percy Jackson
I still refuse
show.
to watch Outlander because the main character of that sets an unrealistic standard for me to accept of men. And if I watch that show, I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. And
yeah, you're right.
Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, the first season. I mean, this guy's just done so much stuff. Yeah, and I'm like a quarter of the way down this list. So yeah, Bear McCreary has just done a lot of stuff. I mean, he's getting his flowers.
So
he's
what
talented.
is his name? Is it Bear?
Bear.
Like the animal?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't 100% think it's his actual real name, but
it could be.
Yeah, he's been in the industry forever, so nobody's ever called him anything
yeah, he looks
else.
like somebody who would be named Bear. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say
true.
no one's called him out if that's his real name. Let's see.
Yeah.
I will find out in the next minute if that's his real name because I have to know. So, but what's the
well,
first
I want you guys to guess the number one because I think you might actually need 3 guesses apiece, honestly.
Really? It's not Live and Learn
it is
40?
It's
I'm
not
going to count that as
Dragonborn.
one of your guesses. You can just
sure,
throw
that's
that shit
fine.
It's not Dragonborn again. I tell you what, is this song that, if you can give me as a hint, is this song from 2023?
See, I will be tricky with it. You could
it's from a remake.
hear it in
Is it
you know what? That's my reaction to
that. Is it related to The Last of Us? Did I get it? Ho!
Gustavo Santo
go.
Iola. Santo A. Wait, there's an extra L in here.
There is.
Santolaya? Okay. I thought his name was different than that. Gustavo Santolaya.
Oh my gosh.
The Last of Us specifically is the track.
Hey.
And I did not expect
we
it to be the number
the hell
one
out of that.
I didn't.
We were just like we were just like bam, boom, pow.
I didn't want to give it to you because you had so much thrown out there. But yeah, The Last of Us. And I'm looking at it here. The image here is from remastered, but I don't think it's not really it's not hugely different from the 2013 version, right? I don't think it is.
If it's different, I didn't know that. I haven't listened to the remastered stuff, but I didn't even realize they released a remastered soundtrack at all. So now I have homework.
Are you kidding me? Of course they did. They remastered the thing like 50 different times. Like
That's true. I will say I love our here in Seattle. There's a radio station called KEXP that I'm like regularly gushing about all the time. It's a public radio station, so it's all like member supported, which means they don't have to follow any rules. They can play almost literally anything. Anything like, here's some brand new release. Here's something off of YouTube that we got from the permission of the creator. Or like the most underground thing I ever heard, they played something off of someone's Patreon that came out that day. They like DM'd the guy and was like, hey, can I play this hip hop track on the radio? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like pirate radio. Like you guys are playing like anything. I can't, like I'd never heard such a grassroots thing before. But Gustavo Santolaya.
Santolaya. I just have to say it a few times. Santolaya.
Santolaya. Yeah.
Alla. See, I never say it out loud. I only ever read it and type it. They played some tracks from him that are older that don't have anything to do with games, but I recognized it was him before they said anything or before I saw it, because I've listened to The Last of Us enough to realize he's got a very specific type of like Spanish guitar thing going on.
Yeah.
Recommend go check that out. I'll see if I can find the exact soundtrack. I think it was for a TV show. It's like some TV show about traveling, but it's really good music. It's really good, like in your car driving kind of music and stuff. But yeah, he's another person who's like a big name in games, but don't forget he is also making a lot of great stuff outside of games.
Yeah,
The Last
it
of Us
looks like
soundtrack was featured during the Video Game Awards last year. Not last year, but the year
year
before
before,
that,
yeah.
right? Because it was like a
Yeah.
finalist or something. Like, man, when the orchestra took that, like they were doing like the big highlight reel of like all the finalists and whatnot, and they did the medley. Um, it's so cool to see all the music interwoven like that. But the the Last of Us music is particularly like moody and emotional.
Mhm.
And so hearing it played like on traditional instruments is like really cool. And didn't we get like a performance of the one dude who played Joel's song that year too?
I'm
Troy
not sure.
Baker's.
Like
I
he
feel like we had a Troy
like
Baker
he played
thing.
over camera, like over Skype or something. They had him on the big screen, and it was like the composer who actually wrote the song that Joel sings in the song he played it on guitar or something. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly.
I
But
mean,
no,
they did so much that year for this. So one of the funny things is I do think this playlist actually is by listens, because the TV show version of The Last of Us has just about 4 million listens.
Checks out.
The game track version of The Last of Us is almost 67 million
Wow.
listens.
That's
It's a
crazy.
lot.
That is wild.
It's so much. And just a fun fact, if you're interested in stats, I saw today that Evanescence uh, said a thank you for apparently Bring Me to Life surpassed 1 billion
1
yeah, I
listens
billion.
mean, I
on
bet that makes sense
Spotify.
because last year was their 20th anniversary of Fallen, the album that
Hmm.
song comes from, and they released like a big old like like special album for it that was like all pretty and colorful and
Yeah.
stuff. It was really cool.
That
So
is great.
it's really funny comparing that. It's like 1 billion of Bring Me to Life specifically to 67 million for
How
The Last of
quaint.
Us.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
wild.
That's
Fun fact
six
about
percent.
Bring Me to Life:
6.7%. That's crazy.
that game is on Just
Great.
Dance, or that song is on Just Dance, the newest one,
Don't check that out.
and it is very intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's the difficulty for that song is hard, and after playing it, I could see why. Like, it has you, like, rolling on the floor, and you got, like, your foot out, and, like, there's a whole bunch of things, like, a whole bunch of movement, and it's like a duet song, so you have to, like, interact with your dance partner and stuff, like, which is something that's not common in Just Dance, songs. I mean, you do have some songs that you interact, but they're few and far between, and so it was a song. I'll say that. It
Yeah.
was a time, but you know what? It was a fun experience because I love that song. It's one of my favorite openers when I do karaoke. If you ever come see me at karaoke, you will hear me sing that song.
Oh yeah,
So
That's a good
that's
one.
for sure. And so we can maybe get back somewhere to some sense of focus. I think I did drop the link in chat for the playlist. There's seriously 100 plus extra things that our community should definitely listen to on
Let's
that
go through each of
playlist.
those, starting at 100.
and we'll have an anecdote about everyone.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Hey,
every single one.
we should take a break here in a second. Actually, I want to go refill my water real quick. I was just listening to. I just a couple weeks ago discovered this album that's called The Last of Us Part Two: Covers and Rarities. That is stuff by Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker and Chris Rondinella. They're like original. Well, I wouldn't say original songs because I recognize one that's "Take on Me." It's a cover of the song "Take on Me," which is obviously not original. The other ones could be original, or they could be like folk tunes that are being covered, but it's like just a guitar and just a singer, usually Ashley Johnson. But yeah, I just discovered that that's from 2021. But I thought
Oh
that was
wow.
neat because that's apparently been around this whole time, and I just never saw it before. So go look that up. But let's take a quick little break, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the Game Awards a little bit. All right, so we started talking about the TGAs, the Game Awards, a little bit. We wanted to revisit this because it's separate from the concerts that we've talked about. and we can. I mean, I guess I'm kind of doubling back a little bit here. I just wanted to make sure we hit it, because it's not one of the live concerts that you'd go to, but the music side of the Game Awards is a big draw, for lots of reasons. I've already been talking enough. If you guys have anything that you're excited to talk about this specifically, I know you guys introduced me to Pedro, of all people.
Yas, the flute guy.
Flute guy.
Yep. He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
him.
and
Let's get him
he
on
played
screen.
5 kinds of flutes in that one medley, right? During the last year, he played like 5 different kinds of woodwind instruments, and I'm just like, where's the air coming from?
Right.
And I mean, like the thing that he's got in that image, he made it. It's not a freaking instrument, all right?
Oh, really?
He made it.
Oh
He
my gosh.
makes instruments out of multiple things, multiple
Wow, he like
kinds of
Frankenstein an
instruments.
instrument together.
Like literally, look at the pipe. Do you think that anybody in their right mind would make that an actual instrument?
Maybe not an
because
instrument for music.
because this sucker is like made of a bassoon and a bass clarinet and whatever the fuck that big pipe is, all right? There's no sense to it. He's the only person that knows how to play that. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I had a few stats here. Otherwise, it's just fun stuff yammering about the Game Awards music. But just a heads up, the Game Awards has increased every year in its viewership. It set the record last year for their all time, and it's 118 million global live streams for
Wow.
2023 Game Awards.
Wow.
And we were one of them. We're part of a record.
Yeah, we were.
There were also co-stream numbers and stuff that I glanced over, but it was up 15% viewership from the year before, which is just wild. And like you brought up, the finale medley of the show is amazing every year. And
Yeah.
I don't remember if they've actually released them. They might have released the medleys. But if I just could have a freaking album of all the medleys they've had over the last 10 years, I would buy that.
They're bangers.
Yeah.
They've had like, I say real musicians, which is kind of an insulting thing to say that implies that other people aren't real musicians. But musicians whose names I recognize, there are lots that I have forgotten. Sorry. But one that I remembered was Rhiannon Giddens. She is like a folk, I don't even know how I design her. Like she had just a bunch of folk songs, like old time, like southern folk sound. I don't know. I'm not doing a very good job of describing this, but I like her music a lot. And she was up there when they had a medley that did a bunch of Red Dead Redemption 2 tracks, among other people, or among other songs. And when they said her name, I'm like, damn, they got real people for this, And she's out there singing. If you haven't heard her voice before, once you hear it, you won't forget it. And if you hear it again, you'll recognize it. But I heard that and I was like, wow, like that was a moment for me where I was like, this is cool, because this is like a real recognizable person to me who's super talented, and not this isn't your backup person. Like this is a very talented person to show up here and pay real money to and stuff. And so that was just a moment to me where I was like, dang, they've got real talent here. Like famous.
Well, I mean,
real.
Yeah.
What was it, 3 years ago when Churches was on? And I don't listen to modern music all that often, to be honest. And when Churches showed up, I was just like, holy shit, this is like real good.
Yeah.
But I mean, then they've expanded every year since we've been covering it, with things like the absolutely insane Herald of Darkness Alan Wake performance that they had.
How
Yeah,
about
what was that? Like, as someone who didn't play Alan Wake 2 at all, I was just flabbergasted at everything happening on the screen. But then everybody in chat was just
Exactly.
like, "Oh, it's an exact recreation of the thing," and
Losing their damn minds.
And I was just like, "This is an experience I am having."
I've seen it described as one of the most meta musical performances of all time. Which, as someone who's not played Alan Wake, I can only speculate at what that means. But since I kind of know what the game's about, seems pretty cool.
But even kind of knowing what it is, you're just
Yeah.
like, but what does any of this mean?
Right. Well, it's so
Like,
super
I'm gonna have
over
to go
the
back and
top.
watch the actual thing on YouTube sometime to compare it to that performance to see exactly what it's all about. Because when I hear it like that is the most meta performance, I would like my brain just thinks of what's her name performing Jump Up Superstar, but in a Pauline cosplay instead of like her actual outfit.
Mhm.
So like I think that would be like a meta thing. But if this is like a one-to-one recreation of that video game sequence, I'm gonna be really excited.
I
So
mean,
I'm looking
kind of
forward to watching.
seems like it because the CEO of Remedy was in it, and as far as I understand, I think that he, the CEO of Remedy, is in the performance in the game as well, like as the CEO of Remedy.
Wow,
So it's like that whole thing. I mean, I don't think that's a
that's an M Night
spoiler
Shyamalan thing.
in the
Like,
right. Well, I don't think that's a spoiler in the sense of like we watched the performance. Like that was the point.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
and there's no connections you can make with any of it
right,
without playing the game. Like you're
right.
just like, I don't know.
What does this mean? Well, it's like a Stephen King novel, which a lot of their stuff is based off of. I think Alan Wake's character is actually based off of Stephen King, who would write himself into some of his books. Uh, but yeah, just a great time. We had Imagine Dragons on there a few years ago, and they not only played the track from Arcane, which is an absolute banger, but they did that with Darren Korb and Ashley Bartlett, uh, who do everything for Supergiant Games, Bastion, Pyre, Hades, and all this. And they did a collaboration. They played at the same time. Oh my gosh, I was losing my damn mind. I could not believe that that was actually happening on stage. And that was, I mean, that's probably the biggest moment I've ever seen as far as like stars playing. Cause like Darren Korb is one of the most famous, like, I mean, he's up there with the greats in video game music, where he's a name that people might actually know, even if they don't know anything about the games. But to be playing with Imagine Dragons, like a band that just went on a huge tour, and just did Arcane, like I said, like a TV show adaptation of a video game that really isn't known for its story, that was a huge hit, so stuff was very impressive to me. It's super fun. Yeah, lots of performances. I'd love to go back there and see if we can find those on YouTube. Um, because I know I'm forgetting stuff, and I'm almost excited to rediscover all these things I've forgotten, or maybe kind of like I love every year. I like going through the lineup for Bonnaroo Music Festival. I like a whole lot, uh, because not only will there be a lot of big bands on there that I do know, there will also be a lot of bands that today I don't know, but in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, everybody's gonna know who these artists are, and it's fun to kind of hear them now and then look back later. Like when I'm looking back, the other day, I shared the 2014 lineup, and when it came out that year, I can guarantee you that most people wouldn't have known more than a third of those artists. But now a lot of them are household names, and stuff. So with the game stuff, with the Game Awards, it's almost like this wonderful benchmark of like, okay, well, how far into the mainstream has this stuff gotten? And on one hand, I don't like to totally use the Game Awards as like the benchmark for this stuff, because it is its own strange corporate thing in some negative ways, but it is also very positive in that it reaches a lot of people. I think in the end, Jeff Keighley does mean well in what he's doing, and because it reaches so many people, I think for that reason it is a useful benchmark.
Yeah, the Game Awards brings this all together because how music is integral to all of our lives in a very significant way. But everything that's a spectacle, the Super Bowl, the Oscars, that's the energy that the Game Awards brings, and the fact that they've matched video games version to all those other huge events is massive, and yeah, I mean, so many names are finally being known from all of this, and it's so good to actually hear that, because, like I said, I don't listen to a whole lot of regular modern music.
Oh,
Almost
Vilas, I can't
everything
wait
now
to hook you
is
up.
games.
I'm gonna find stuff that you're gonna love, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I would believe that.
Yeah,
I feel like Tegan's a really good curator.
dude, because there's
Yeah,
well,
I
we've been
don't doubt it.
talking
I
about
like
it.
a lot of music,
There's
but
all this music that these people who make video game music have also been making over here that doesn't sound the same but is equally good. There's a whole world out there, and you just gotta, honestly, you just need somebody, you need the right person to recommend it to you, because
You need a Sherpa.
that's right. Because finding that stuff on your own can be hard. That's why an algorithm is very useful, but it's also why, like, when you've got somebody to recommend things like personally to you, that you'll just get huge hits or sleepers. I mean, Vados, when I was going through, I listened to our rhythm game episode from about a year ago. at episode 89, and you played a musical story on there. And you played something else. I don't remember what you played that day, but I remember I had remarked, I was like, what rock did you find these games under? Because this is like the most indie game I've ever seen. And that happens a lot where like you are the video game equivalent of that music curator, where it's like, yeah, I could use an algorithm to find this stuff, but really I want someone who's checked this stuff out firsthand to tell me why I should be interested, you know. And like the stuff you're finding is like the stuff that I feel like I'd find on Spotify that would have 1,000 listens, you know, or it even says like less than 1,000 is when it's really small.
It's like we're not even tracking this. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know why
It's
we're
like in
here.
this general ballpark area. I
Yeah,
guess.
this person has made 15 cents from all their streams. But what else? So we can move on from the TGAs because we've got some stuff here at the end.
Yeah. So actually, what I was going to say is that the TGAs had a virtual play too. Like they had Jeff Keighley, like in the Fortnite world, right?
Mhm.
And I was going to talk about like how I'm surprised they didn't include the medley in that too, because Fortnite has had its own virtual concerts as well. I think the first one that they did was Marshmello, but they had several artists come up and do like virtual concerts that you can actually go log into the game and attend a virtual concert where they would have actual avatars of the artists singing and performing, doing live performances, like a whole actual concert, like a music festival right there in Fortnite, which I think is really cool because first of all, I think Fortnite is free. I'm pretty sure it's free. So you don't have to pay a bunch of money. Is it not? Is it free?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
it is free. Well, for a second I
Um,
was like, well, I haven't actually tried to log in for a festival, so I mean, I assume. But yes,
yeah,
it's
I'm
definitely
not
free.
sure if the concerts will be free or if you need V-Bucks or whatever to get into them. But I mean, it's not going to be the same as, buying a plane ticket, going to a music festival, doing a road trip, doing all this planning and all this resource management. You just log into the game, you go to the concert, you have this wonderful experience with all these different people. And it's so cool because you get actual cosmetics and baubles and things that you can equip to your character or and like things to remember the concerts with. And then all people are going to be streaming it. So you can go back and relive the moment. Like it's so cool that all of these artists have gotten on here and decided to bring music to the people this way. It's like so accessible.
Right. It's
Then,
like don't try to get the people to go where you are, go to where they are, and they are in
right.
Fortnite. It's such a silly thing. I mean, I laughed out loud the first time I saw that there was a Fortnite concert. I'm like, what? I mean, I wasn't upset
Because
about
it
it.
is a preposterous idea. Like it's so out there, but at the same time, it's just like that's actually really cool.
It's like tomorrow's show. Like we're actually gonna feature Slash or something in Fortnite.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. Why are we doing this? I
But I
don't
mean,
know.
they have really big names going out there and putting on concerts. I mean, you got Marshmello, you got Ariana Grande.
There have been so many different concerts over there from all sorts of different artists. I could look up a list, but I mean, there's got to be like a dozen by now,
I
because
think so.
their machine, the Fortnite machine, is just always cooking. And the fact that the music side of Fortnite, what a wild sentence to say, has become so successful that now they have like the Fortnite Festival mode, I think that's what it's called, where you can, that's made by Harmonix, who made Rock Band. So now you can just play songs that they have the license for, like real Rock Band songs in the game of Fortnite for free, which is incredible.
For free?
For free. So you can introduce like all these chillins, especially can access all this music that maybe they've never seen before, and it's free. Like they don't have to get permission or log in or buy or anything like that. They just get it, which is fantastic. But yeah, Marshmello, Ariana Grande, Slash, who was? It wasn't
That was in there
Travis
too.
Scott was recent.
Travis
Yeah.
Scott, the guy who got arrested for inciting a riot at his own show.
But what's really neat, besides like the virtual concerts of real people, is that there have been virtual concerts of virtual people who don't actually really exist, who are voiced by actual, real life musicians who do actually exist. And one of the most famous of which is KDA of League of Legends. So we're back on that League of Legends train because we were talking about Arcane earlier.
That's right.
And when I tell you that KDA was like a phenomenon that swept the nation, it like took over people's lives. It was so cool because the way that they did it was they had a whole bunch of like social platforms. They had like their own Twitter, they had their own Insta. They were posting pictures of like from behind the scenes on their tour that didn't exist because they're again virtual people. So it was like really cool because it lent this kind of like humanity, almost kind of like an augmented reality
Hmm.
sort of twist on what like a musician could be. It was almost like VTubing, but like with music.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool for the culture because not everybody's going to be into the League of Legends game because of the game, right? I mean, I think a lot of the time people just play because the characters are cool, the designs are cool, the moves look cool, and they can play with their friends.
Yeah, KDA's been popping. Um, there's the band that is now with Overwatch with the
Oh,
new
Le Seraphim.
Le
Yeah,
Seraphim.
they're going to be in a music festival. I can't remember which one. I don't think it's Bonnaroo. What's the other one?
Coachella, Lollapalooza.
Coachella. Yes, Coachella.
Yeah.
They are going to be part of Coachella along with Hatsune Miku, which is
Yeah, right.
like what the heck? And I was like, I saw them on the list, and I was like, oh wow! So like the big Overwatch breakthrough thing happened for them, stateside. That was their big introduction, and now they're actually touring around the country. I think that's really cool because that's how I think Blackpink got started.
Yeah, when
Uh,
you mentioned that, I definitely looked at way too many YouTube videos of their stuff.
You know,
Really? I haven't given their music like an honest try because all I know is that is the little thing that plays during their taunt in Overwatch because Odie has like all of their skins, especially for Kiriko. He's got all the things for Kiriko. He's got the one for Diva too. But back on subject.
yeah,
So
right.
the virtual artist is really cool. I can't think of any more like fictional artists off the top of my head just because KDA, like I said earlier, they were like in my top 5 listens on my Spotify Wrapped because More was like the big popular thing that came out last year. And of course I learned that dance because a couple of friends of mine, the year that Pop Stars came out, we actually ended up cosplaying the Pop Stars outfit, which is like the first, like the black and fuchsia and all of that when they released that single of that year.
Mhm.
And we entered um, the cosplay contest with those outfits and performed that song. I actually think I have like a video of it popped up somewhere in there
Yeah, you
for
do.
you to play.
Let's get this going here.
But like the music had broken out of the actual game's target audience, which was, the game, and reached us as cosplayers because, we dabble in the game, but like we like to cosplay, right? And so we're like, oh yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. And so we got together, we made our costumes, we went to actual rehearsals at like the main house and we practiced our dance and we put it on. We put on a show for people, y'all. It was really fun. And we ended up winning in our category. We got first place, and it felt so satisfying, putting in all this work and stuff. But we were so inspired by these virtual artists, and I mean that's our topic for today: is how video game music has grown beyond just being the background music of a video game. Like it's moving people, it's inspiring people, it's making people like it's fueling their creative endeavors outside of just playing a video game for fun, right? Like it's so great. And virtual concerts, uh, whether the people are real or fake or virtual, they're fun. They're fun to attend. I mean, at the League of Legends Worlds, they've had KDA perform there like the last 2 years. They did more last year, I think, and then the year before that they had pop stars, of course. And then somewhere in between that, Lil Nas X performed because he had just come out with
That's
a
who I
song
was
that
trying
was
to think
like,
of.
yeah.
Besides Travis Scott, that's who I was trying to think of.
He performed somewhere in there because they designed a champion after him, Cassante, and then
Mhm.
he wrote a song for the
Who's
worlds of that year.
totally overpowered, by the way. Like
Well,
literally the
apparently the person
strongest
who designed
ARAM.
him just got laid off this year.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my
Riot
gosh.
just laid off like 11% of their staff again, and he was one of the people that got hit. So sad.
Blizzard Activision just laid off almost 2,000 people today. But that's a conversation for another time.
Mhm.
Gosh. But we do
But
have
yeah,
lots of things to
look at
say
the
about
screen
it.
though, y'all. If y'all are watching this on screen right now, didn't we kill it?
You
We killed
did. You crushed it. So you're
Yeah.
Evelyn. After this,
Mhm.
after this finish playing again, I'll put the picture up of the still of you. It's good
I
stuff.
still have that costume, and one of my streaming milestones was to play League of Legends, or no, it was to play Beat Saber dressed as Evelyn. But then I turned my Evelyn wig into my Lifeline wig, so I haven't been able to make good on that on that milestone yet. So I will be remedying that sometime this year. I will because sometime before I sell my virtual headset because I don't actually use it a lot. But yeah, it's crazy that music has moved people from a video game has moved people so far as to like break out into the real world in this fashion.
Mhm.
And that's just, I mean, cosplay is just one of the facets, there are people who are out there who are covering songs, who are like their cover albums, right? Uh, just I was introduced last year to people who are covering Splatoon music. There are cover bands for Splatoon music. They'll actually make songs that sound like songs sang in Splatoon. I'm talking about with like the like all of that. Like it's
Is
so
that
fun.
what? I hope there's a name for that specific sound.
Well, I call it Inklish because they're inklings, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I call it Inklish.
I like
I'm
that.
not sure if there's an actual name for it,
That's
but
the name. You just said it. That's the name.
it's in the dictionary. So
That's right.
taking the still.
The still? The still? Oh, I didn't show the still.
Yeah, you made a promise to Sid, and you can't go back on it.
Oh, I just care about chat seeing it. I've seen it all the time. You know I love me.
Hold on. Okay.
I can't wait for it to be like sideways because of how the resolution of the screen
I
is.
mean, it is
Okay,
a
there we
little
go.
bit stretched, but it is
It's
on
a little
screen.
squish. It's a little squish.
But there we go. We'll show the still. Show the still.
I still have that chair actually. It's right here. Ugh. Chair.
Are you dodging like in Sifu? You're like, oh, you can't hit. Stop.
I'm 70 now. I broke my back and died, so now I'm 70.
So we'll see you all again very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Bye.
Bye in a musical fashion.